Hey there, ever been stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting, only to find a sea of brake lights stretching as far as the eye can see? Or opened your phone to a stream of bad news, emails piling up, headlines screaming disaster, and felt your heart pounding before you even had a chance to breathe? You're not alone. Life throws curveballs at us every single day. That colleague who always tests your patience, the weather that refuses to cooperate, or news that feels like a punch to the gut. Suddenly your mind is racing and you're trapped in a storm of thoughts you didn't choose. But here's the big question. Who's in control, you or that whirlwind inside your head? If you don't learn to steer your own mind, it will steer you, and trust me, it won't always take you where you want to go. I've been there, just like you, reacting instantly, spiraling into worry, replaying every little slight until my chest felt tight. I realized something had to change, and that's when I discovered Stoicism. Not some dusty philosophy locked away in an ancient textbook, but a practical toolkit used by some of history's smartest, calmest leaders. Stoics believe that external events, traffic jams, rude comments, power outages, aren't what shake us up. It's our judgments about them. You see, when someone cuts you off in traffic, your mind instantly labels them a jerk. And boom, you're shouting at your steering wheel. But what if you paused for a second and thought, maybe they're rushing to an emergency, or simply, I choose not to give my peace away over this. That tiny shift rewrites the entire story. Let me share a quick story. A few months ago, I was late for a big presentation. Of course, I hit every red light possible. My heart was racing. I was convinced this was going to ruin everything. And then I remembered a Stoic tip. Pause. I took a deep breath, counted to 3, and reminded myself this doesn't define me. Suddenly, the next green light felt like a gift. I arrived calm, collected, and nailed that presentation. That's the power of Stoicism. It teaches you to take back 2 things you always have: your mind and your response. You can't control the world, but you can control how you engage with it. And that's huge. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to build that mental muscle, how to stay steady when everything around you is anything but. No more riding the roller coaster of your emotions. Instead, you'll learn 1. The 3-second pause, a tiny habit that snaps you out of autopilot. 2. Reframing the story, turning "that's unfair" into "what can I learn here?" 3. Observer mode, watching life like a movie and choosing the calmest character's reaction. But first, here's a truth bomb. Peace isn't a gift you'll get someday when life settles down. Peace is a skill, like riding a bike or playing an instrument. It needs practice. So let me ask you, when was the last time you felt truly unshakable? When not even a storm of stress could pull you off center? If you can't remember or you've never felt it, that's okay. Today is your starting line. Imagine arriving at work, taking that same breath instead of reaching for your phone. Imagine giving feedback and feeling calm instead of your heart racing. Imagine ending every day knowing you held the reins to your own mind. It won't happen overnight. You'll slip up, anger will storm in, doubts will creep back. But every time you pause, reframe, and observe, you're taking back a little more control. Ready to get started? Hit that like button if you're with me and drop a comment. I choose calm. We're building a community here because staying steady isn't about going it alone. It's about learning from each other. All right, let's dive into technique number 1, the 3-second pause. You ever find yourself snapping at the smallest things? A dripping faucet, a delayed email, or maybe even your toaster refusing to work? Those little annoyances that somehow feel like the last straw? Well, meet Tomas. At 33 years old, he seemed to have it all. A steady job, a cozy apartment, good friends. But like so many of us, he carried a secret storm inside. Every day, Thomas bottled up his stress. Work deadlines piled up. Offhand comments from coworkers stung more than they should. And small disappointments, like the mail arriving late, felt like personal attacks. He kept it all locked inside. Then one night, everything boiled over. His partner, in a gentle but honest moment, said 4 words. "You're always angry." That comment lit a fuse. Tomas exploded, yelling, slamming doors, accusations flying. And after the storm, he fled out into the night, a restless soul wandering the empty streets. I've been there too. That heart-racing, head-spinning moment when you realize your own mind is your worst enemy. But here's the twist. It was in those quiet hours, wandering with nowhere to go, that Tomas found a lifeline. He pulled out his phone and clicked on a video with a line that changed everything. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond. Stoicism, yeah, that old-school philosophy from the Roman Empire, sounded strange at first. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. But Tomas didn't have much to lose, so he dove in headfirst, reading their timeless wisdom through the glow of his screen. Here's what he discovered. It wasn't the toaster or the neighbors or the traffic that made him lose it. It was his judgment, the story he told himself about those events. And once he saw that, the power shifted. He realized that anger isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose. So Tomas started practicing 3 simple habits every day. Breathe before you react. Before answering that harsh email or snapping at someone in traffic, he'd pause, take a deep breath in and out. Just a few seconds gave his rational brain a chance to wake up. Observe before you complain. He became a detective of his own thoughts. When frustration bubbled up, he asked, "What am I telling myself right now? Is that story true, or could there be another way to see it?" Walk away to reset. Whenever he felt that familiar knot in his chest, he'd step outside for a brisk walk, even if it was just around the block. Moving his body helped him move his mind out of the mud of stress. Of course, Tomas didn't become a Zen master overnight. He slipped up plenty of times. But something remarkable happened. Each time he practiced those habits, anger lost a little of its power. He was no longer a slave to his impulses. Instead, he learned to answer rather than react. From the outside, Tomas looked like a different person. He wasn't shouting to be heard or scrambling to prove he was right. He simply chose peace, and you know what? People around him noticed. His calm became contagious. Maybe you're not Tomas, but how many times have you felt like your mind was dragging you to places you didn't want to go? You're in line at the grocery store and someone cuts ahead. Your blood boils. Or you get one piece of negative feedback at work, and suddenly you're replaying every mistake you ever made. I want you to picture that scenario right now. Feel the tension? Good. Because that tension is your mind telling you to react. But I'm here to tell you there's a different path, and it starts with understanding this simple truth. Calm isn't a gift from the outside world. It's a skill you train from the inside out. And that skill begins with 3 steps we just saw. Pause and breathe, question your story, move to reset. So here's my challenge to you. The next time your mind races, stop, literally stop. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me? And if you're still caught in the storm, stand up and walk just for 5 minutes. Notice the world around you, the sky, the breeze, the rhythm of your footsteps. Those moments of pause and presence might not solve your biggest problems, but they will give you the space to choose your response rather than be forced into one. Tomas's story is proof that you don't need to be born unflappable. You just need to practice. And every time you choose calm, you're weakening the power of stress and strengthening your inner peace. Drop a comment below with "I choose calm" if you're in. Let's build a community of people who refuse to let their minds run the show. Because calm isn't just for the philosophers on ancient pillars. It's for all of us, here and now. In the next segment, we'll dive into how to reframe your toughest moments into opportunities for growth. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. See you there. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a wild horse, powerful, restless, ready to bolt at the first sign of trouble. Now ask yourself, are you in the saddle, guiding it where you want to go? Or has it already taken the reins, dragging you along paths you'd never choose? Because here's the heart of Stoicism. We always have 2 choices: control our mind or be a slave to it. Epictetus nailed it centuries ago when he said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Think about that. Two people can face the exact same situation, getting cut off in traffic, a rude comment from a coworker, your flight delayed, and feel totally different. One erupts with anger, the other takes a deep breath and moves on. Same event, different story in the mind. Let's bring that to life. Remember when Will Smith walked on stage at the Oscars? One joke about his wife, one split-second decision, and a world-famous slap that changed everything. In that flash, anger rode the horse, and reputation paid the price. Now imagine he'd taken 3 seconds, just 3, to pause and ask, is this worth forfeiting my life's work? That tiny gap could have rewritten history. Or consider Marta. 10 years as a dedicated admin assistant, eyes on the next rung of the ladder. She applied for a promotion she earned, but it went to someone with family ties. Feel that sting? Marta could have stewed in bitterness, replaying the injustice. Instead, she chose acceptance. She asked herself, what can I control here? And quietly sharpened her skills. Within months, she landed a role at a place that truly valued her. By refusing to be a slave to resentment, she reclaimed her power. And then there's Brian Bernader, Betty Oliver, born with severe disabilities, wheelchair-bound since childhood. Many would see limits. Brian saw a stage. He grabbed his phone, mixed humor with authenticity, and turned his challenges into content that millions love. He even earned a Goya nomination for his acting. Brian didn't let circumstances define him. He chose how to respond, and in doing so, he transformed his life. So here's the question I leave you with. What story are you choosing right now? When life throws you a curveball, what's the first thought in your head? This is unfair, I can't handle it. Or, okay, this happened, now what can I learn? That pause between event and reaction, that's where your freedom lives. Every time you catch your mind before it runs wild, you're saying, I'm in charge. So let's practice right now. 1. Notice one small frustration you had today. 2. Ask yourself, what story did I tell myself? 3. Flip it. How else can I see this? With each reset, you're training your mind to be your ally, not your jailer. Because true power isn't in controlling the world, it's in controlling your response to it. Let's talk about a tiny habit that can make a huge difference in your day-to-day life. I call it the 3-second pause, and it's the first of 11 Stoic techniques we'll explore to help you stay calm no matter what's happening around you. Picture this. You're inching forward in bumper-to-bumper traffic, late for an important meeting. Your heart is pounding, your knuckles are white on the steering wheel, and every honk feels like a personal attack. Your mind is screaming, honk, cut them off. You can't afford to be late. But in that split second, you have a choice. React on autopilot or press the mental brakes and regain control. Here's how the 3-second pause works. 1. Notice the trigger. Something happens. A driver cuts you off, you spill your coffee, you get a brusque text message. Feel that jolt of anger or panic in your chest. That's your cue. 2. Count to 3. Take a deliberate breath in and count. 1, 2, or 3, not 1 million, just a clear 3 seconds of space between the event and your reaction. 3. Choose your response. With that gap, your rational brain gets a chance to wake up. Instead of reflexively honking, snapping, or sending an angry reply, you can ask yourself, what outcome do I want here? What response will serve me best? Why 3 seconds? Because neuroscience shows that emotional impulses fire in your amygdala almost instantly, but it takes roughly 3 seconds for that signal to travel to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that thinks logically. By pausing for those precious moments, you give reason a seat at the table. Let me share a quick story from my own life. A few months back, I was rushing to catch an early flight. Naturally, the airport security line was moving at a glacial pace. My heart rate spiked, and I felt that old pattern kick in. Tension building, shoulders rising, my mind playing worst-case scenarios. You'll miss your flight. The meeting tomorrow is on you. I could practically feel my stress hormones flooding my system. Then I remembered the 3-second pause. I stopped, closed my eyes for a moment, and counted out loud in my head. 1, 2, 3. I pictured hitting an emotional reset button. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was still going to make my flight. I wasn't late yet, and that freaking out wouldn't help. That pause let me shift from panic mode to problem-solving mode. I regained my composure, breezed through security at a calmer pace, and actually had enough time to grab a coffee and review my presentation notes. That's the power of one simple habit. Here's how you can integrate it right now. At home, if you stub your toe or drop your phone, instead of blurting out an expletive, pause for 3 seconds. Breathe, then choose. Grin, shrug, or calmly pick up your phone without a meltdown. At work, when you get that unexpected email full of criticism, resist the urge to fire off an immediate response. Take a drink of water, count to 3, and draft a thoughtful reply rather than a reactive one. In relationships, when your partner makes an offhand comment that stings, pause. Listen to your breath for 3 seconds. Then ask a question or share your feelings without letting anger hijack the conversation. You might be thinking, I don't have time for that. But the truth is, those 3 seconds cost you almost nothing and pay off in huge dividends. Over time, pausing rewires your brain. You start to default to calmness instead of chaos. Stress levels drop, communication improves, and you become someone who navigates life's challenges with grace. Quick exercise. Think back to today. What's one moment when you felt irritation spike? Replay that scenario in your mind and imagine yourself inserting the 3-second pause. Count 1, 2, 3, then choose a new response. How would the outcome change? Even this mental rehearsal is powerful. Why it works? Physiological reset. A deep breath engages your parasympathetic nervous system, slowing your heart rate and reducing tension. Mental clarity. The pause breaks the autopilot reaction, giving your conscious mind control. Emotional resilience. Each successful pause builds confidence. You learn that impulses don't have to own you. Remember, practice doesn't make perfect. It makes progress. Some days you'll nail the pause and feel awesome. Other days you might forget until you're already shouting into your phone. And that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. With each attempt, you're training your mind to respond rather than react. So today I challenge you. Next time your emotions start to roar, press pause. Count 1, 2, 3, then choose calm, clarity, and purpose. It's a small step, but it can change the entire direction of your day. If you found this technique helpful, let me know in the comments. Just type 3 seconds to remind yourself to keep practicing. And stick around. Up next, we'll explore how to reframe your story in the moment so you turn obstacles into opportunities. See you there. Imagine you're in a meeting pitching an idea you poured your heart into, and someone across the table says, honestly, that's not very strong. Your chest tightens, your mind whispers, they disrespected me. They don't value my effort. In that instant, you have 2 choices. Let that thought spiral into anger, or reframe the story and turn it into growth. Here's why reframing matters. Our minds are master storytellers. At the first hint of criticism, they spin a drama where we're the victim. They're attacking me. I'm not good enough. They think I'm a failure. But Stoics taught us that it's not events that upset us, but our opinions about them. When you catch yourself saying, they disrespected me, pause and ask, is this truly disrespect, or is it feedback I can use to improve? Let me share a quick example. My friend Sarah is a graphic designer. She spent days crafting a logo she believed was perfect. During the review, her client said, it's okay, but it doesn't capture our brand's energy. Sarah's first thought was, they don't appreciate my creativity. I'm a failure. She nearly scrapped the whole project, but then she paused and reframed. Okay, they want more energy. That's useful insight. She dove deeper. What specific vibes should shine through? Bold, playful, elegant. With that new perspective, she added vibrant colors and dynamic shapes. The client loved the revision, and Sarah gained confidence in her process. Or think about a moment with your teenager. They glare and say, you never listen to me. Instantly, your mind protests. They're being rude, ungrateful, disrespectful. But if you reframe that comment to, they're telling me they feel unheard, you shift into problem-solving mode. You can respond calmly. I'm sorry you feel that way. Help me understand what I missed. Suddenly you're connecting instead of clashing. You might wonder, but isn't it hard to flip that switch in the heat of the moment? Absolutely. Your gut reaction will always try to drag you down the victim's path. That's why reframing takes practice. Here are 3 questions to guide you. 1. Is this feedback or an insult? Often people aren't attacking you. They're sharing a perspective that could help you grow. 2. What can I learn here? Every critique hides a nugget of improvement. Ask yourself, how can I use this to get better? 3. What's my next best step? Instead of stewing, focus on actionable steps. Even tiny adjustments move you forward. Let me tell you about Brian Elbedi Olivan, better known as Brinator on TikTok. Born with severe disabilities, his early years were full of medical challenges and social barriers. Many would see criticism in every sideways glance or pitying comment. But Brian reframed those moments. They're pointing out my challenges. How can I turn that into a message of resilience? He picked up his phone, added humor, authenticity, and a dash of dance moves. Millions responded, and he even earned a Goya nomination for his acting. What looked like a lifetime of obstacles became a platform for inspiration. Reframing isn't about ignoring pain or pretending criticism never stings. It's about choosing to see obstacles as opportunities. Here's a quick challenge for you. Think of one piece of criticism you've received recently, at work, with family, or online. Write down that exact comment and your gut reaction. Then rewrite it. Original. They disrespected me. They don't value my effort. Reframe. This is feedback. I can use it to improve. Feel that shift? That's the power of reframing. You transform a blow to your ego into fuel for your growth engine. Over time, your mind starts to default to curiosity instead of defensiveness. You'll catch yourself asking, what's the lesson here? Instead of, how dare they? Remember, progress beats perfection. Some days you'll nail the reframe, other days you'll slip back into old patterns. And that's okay. The practice is what counts. With every successful reframe, you strengthen your calm muscle, reduce stress, and build resilience. So next time someone's comment feels like a slap, don't let your mind write the victim's script. Pause, breathe, and ask, how can I turn this into my advantage? Reframe your story, and you'll discover that criticism isn't a wall. It's a doorway to your next level. Imagine you're watching a film, and you see a tense scene play out on screen. The lead character's face flushes red, their voice rises, and the room crackles with emotion. Yet you're perfectly calm, safely observing from your seat. What if you could bring that same perspective into your own life? That's the heart of observer mode, our third Stoic technique for staying calm under fire. You know that moment when you feel your chest tighten, a harsh email pings in, your partner snaps, or someone cuts you off on the highway, and suddenly you're caught in a whirlwind of anger or panic? Observer mode teaches you to step back, to see the situation as if from the audience, not from the center of the drama. First, when you sense tension rising, hit the mental pause button. Literally stop whatever you're doing and imagine a spotlight hitting the scene. You are now an actor on stage, and your job is to watch the play, not act on impulse. Feel that heartbeat in your throat, notice it, and then picture that beat playing out on a screen in front of you. Next, rotate the camera, shift from being the actor to being the director in the control booth. You're no longer inside the moment. You're observing it from a little distance. You can see your own furrowed brow, hear your sharp tone, and sense the tension vibrating in the air. From this vantage point, you are safe. You have choice. Now here's the fun part. You get to cast which version of yourself steps back into the scene. There's the reactive you, yelling, storming out, firing off an angry text. And then there's the calm you, taking a breath, asking a question, seeking understanding. Which character do you direct to the stage? Of course, we pick the calm one. Last week, I was on a team call where a colleague bluntly said, "This presentation is missing the mark." My first instinct was to defend. My pulse kicked up and my voice nearly cracked. But I remembered observer mode. I closed my eyes for a second, imagined myself watching on screen, and noticed how tense I sounded. From my director's booth, I chose the calm version of me. I opened my eyes and said, "Thanks for the feedback. Can you help me understand which points felt unclear?" The conversation shifted instantly. Instead of a clash, we dove into specifics and improved the deck. Observer mode works because distance equals clarity. When you're inside the drama, emotions hijack your reasoning. Stepping out gives you space to think. It breaks the instant trigger reaction, regret, by choosing to observe first. And it invites empathy. Watching yourself interact helps you see the other person's point of view too. You don't need fancy tools or a calm mind to start. Here's a quick exercise you can do right now. Recall a moment today when you felt your stress spike. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and replay that moment on a mental screen. Narrate what you see out loud. There I am, shoulders hunched, voice sharp. Recast the scene. Imagine the calm version of you stepping forward, breathing, listening, responding. Feel that shift? Even just practicing this mentally builds your observer muscle. A CEO I know visualized every difficult conversation from above his own head. He said it felt like wearing emotional armor. If it helps Fortune 500 leaders, it can help you handle that tense dinner table debate or the next heated group chat. Your challenge today, the next time something rattles you, whisper to yourself, observer mode. Step out, direct the calm actor, and replay the scene with intention. Notice how people respond when you lead with composure instead of chaos. Imagine you're standing in your kitchen. The coffee machine sputters. Your morning latte spills, and suddenly you feel the heat rising. Your jaw clenches, your breath shortens, and before you know it, you're muttering expletives under your breath. Sound familiar? Today we're talking about the 90-second rule for anger, a Stoic-inspired technique that can stop that flare-up in its tracks. You see, science tells us something powerful. Anger is a short-lived emotion. Biologically, a true anger burst lasts about 90 seconds. After that initial surge of adrenaline and cortisol, your body starts to calm down, if you don't fan the flames. The tricky part is our mind loves to replay the incident, adding logs to a fire that was almost out. Step 1, notice the wave. The moment you feel that familiar rush, heart pounding, cheeks flushing, recognize it as the biological anger wave. That's your cue. Don't try to suppress it. That just builds pressure. Instead, simply notice it. Think, okay, there's the anger spike. It's normal, it's natural, and it'll fade if I don't stoke it. Step 2, embrace the countdown. Now here's the game changer. Count 90 seconds in your head. Use any method. Count breaths, count seconds, even count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. As you count, don't argue with yourself. Just let the wave pass. You're giving your rational brain time to wake up and remind you that you control the response, not the emotion. Why this works? Physiology. In those 90 seconds, your body completes the adrenaline surge and parasympathetic system begins to restore balance. Mindfulness. Counting redirects your focus from the trigger to a neutral task, breaking the loop of replaying resentments. Empowerment. You prove to yourself that feelings aren't commands. You don't have to act on every impulse. A quick example. Picture this. You're driving and someone cuts you off. Instinct screams, honk, flash your lights, yell out the window. But instead, you notice your pulse racing. You start a silent count. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 90. As you reach 45, you feel your shoulders unclench. By 90, the urge to scream has vanished. You smoothly merge ahead, calm and collected. Real life story. Let me share a quick story from my life. A few months ago, I was on a conference call when a teammate criticized my idea in a sharp tone. My immediate reaction was to snap back, but I remembered the 90-second rule. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and counted. My mind wanted to rehearse the rebuttal, but I kept counting. By the time I reached 90, the sting was gone. I opened my eyes and simply said, "Thanks for the feedback. Let's explore how to strengthen that point." The discussion stayed constructive, and our project improved. Your challenge. 1, identify one situation this week where you felt anger spike, at work, at home, or on the road. 2. Count 90 seconds before reacting. If you can't literally count, pause and take 10 deep breaths. 3. Observe the change. You'll notice your words and tone shift from reactive to measured. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. You might forget to count once or twice, and that's okay. Each time you catch yourself and practice the 90-second rule, you train your mind to let anger pass instead of fueling it. Over time, you'll find yourself less prone to outbursts and more equipped to handle life's little frustrations with poise. So next time you feel that familiar heat, resist the urge to act, count 90 seconds, watch the storm calm, and reclaim your peace, 1 second at a time. Imagine you're in the middle of a heated conversation. Maybe it's a tense client call, a disagreement with your partner, or even a family dinner that's veering toward conflict. Your heart's pounding, your voice wants to rise, and your instinct is to fill the silence with the next sharp retort. But what if silence and a steady gaze could be your superpower? That's exactly what strategic pauses and the Stoic gaze are all about. You've probably heard the phrase silence is golden, but rarely do we actually practice it when pressure hits. Instead, we fire off words like bullets, hoping to land the perfect shot. Here's the first shift. Embrace the pause. 1. Pause with purpose. The next time someone says something that stings, whether it's, "We need this by yesterday," or "Why didn't you handle that the way I asked?" resist the urge to jump in. Instead, take a breath. Count in your head. 1, 2, 3. That 3-second window isn't a wasted time. It's your launch pad for calm. In those seconds, your brain moves from reactive mode to thoughtful mode. 2. Own the silence. Notice how uncomfortable the other person gets when you don't immediately respond. It's magic. Silence forces them to fill the space, and often they clarify, soften, or even apologize. You're not being rude, you're commanding respect. You're saying, "I'm listening and I'm choosing my words carefully." 3. The Stoic gaze. Ever notice how some people look you in the eye without flinching, without that twitch of defensiveness? That steady gaze signals confidence. Practice softening your eyes. Imagine you're looking at someone you genuinely care about. Your face relaxes, your tone lowers, and you communicate calm without a single word. Let me share a quick story. Last month, I was negotiating with a vendor who tried to pressure me with last-minute demands. My first instinct was to match their aggression, raise my voice, push back harder. But I remembered the Stoic approach. I paused. I held their gaze, nodded slowly, and stayed silent. After a few beats, they blinked, shifted in their chair, and actually offered me better terms. Why? Because I refused to be rattled. Why this works? Psychology of silence. Humans hate awkward pauses. Your calm silence triggers others to rethink their words. Physiology of gaze. When you maintain gentle eye contact, you activate mirror neurons in the other person's brain, encouraging them to mirror your calm. Emotional intelligence. Strategic pauses give you space to read the room, tone, body language, unspoken emotions, and respond more effectively. Here's a quick exercise you can try today. Role play with a friend or a colleague. Have them throw you a tough question or criticism. Practice pausing for 3 seconds before you answer. No filler words, just silence. Maintain that steady gaze, breathing evenly. Notice how the dynamic shifts. Over time, this becomes second nature. You'll find yourself disarming arguments, steering conversations toward collaboration, and keeping your own stress levels in check. Remember, strategic pauses in the Stoic gaze are not about playing power games or intimidating others. They're about owning your presence, choosing your response, and modeling the calm you want to see. Next time your mind screams, say something, defend yourself. Let your silence and your steady eyes do the talking. That's real strength, and it's available to all of us. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding, I'm not going to complain about a single thing, not the traffic, not my boss's tone, not the rain. Sounds impossible, right? Yet this acceptance challenge, our 6th Stoic technique, might just be the reset button you need. You know how a single gripe can spiral? You're late because of road construction. So you grumble. That grumble turns into frustration at your inbox, pinging nonstop. Next thing you know, you're in a bad mood all day. What if you hit pause and accepted each moment exactly as it is without complaint? Let's break down how a 24-hour acceptance experiment can change your relationship with stress. 1. Set your intention. Tonight before you go to bed, tell yourself, tomorrow I won't complain. I'll simply notice and accept what I can't control. You're not pretending problems don't exist. You're choosing not to let them steal your peace. 2. Notice the urge to complain. Throughout your day, every time you feel that itch to vent, more spam in my inbox, or great, another cold drizzle, simply pause. Recognize the urge. There it is, my complaint signal. That moment of awareness is pure gold because you're waking up your mind to its own habit loops. 3. Re-anchor to the present. Replace the complaint with a grounding action. Feel your feet on the floor, take a deep breath, or silently say, noted. By shifting from complaint to observation, you redirect energy from resistance to acceptance. Let me tell you about my own acceptance challenge. Last week, I committed to 1 day without complaining. My alarm went off to pouring rain, a perfect complain moment. Instead, I said, rain, noted. I grabbed my umbrella and noticed the fresh, clean scent in the air. On my commute, someone cut me off, usually a meltdown trigger. I caught myself. Cut off, okay. I took 3 calm breaths and rolled with the drive. By lunchtime, something surprising happened. Friends messaged to ask why I seemed unusually upbeat. I hadn't realized how much everyday complaints were draining me. That single day shone a light on how often I gave my power away by resisting reality. Why this works. Shifts your focus. Complaints keep you stuck on what's wrong. Acceptance moves your attention to what is possible. Builds resilience. Facing discomfort without resistance trains you to bounce back faster when challenges arise. Frees mental space. Every unvoiced complaint is energy saved for solving real problems or enjoying moments. Your one-day acceptance blueprint. 1. Morning ritual. Write on a sticky note. No complaints today. Stick it on your bathroom mirror. Midday check-in. Set a reminder on your phone at lunchtime. How many complaints have I noticed? 3. Evening reflection. Journal 3 moments you accepted gracefully and how it felt. A challenge for you. Tomorrow, try your own acceptance challenge. Don't analyze whether something is fair or good. Just accept it as part of your day. When you catch yourself about to complain, pause, breathe, and note it. Traffic, rain, deadline. Notice how that simple shift changes your mood, your interactions, and your sense of control. If you're up for it, drop a comment. I accept. Let's see how many of us can go complaint-free and come back to share what we learned. After all, Stoicism isn't about eliminating obstacles. It's about meeting them with steady acceptance. Give it a day and watch how your world opens up. Imagine you're in the middle of a family dinner. Someone makes a comment that digs a little too close to home. Maybe about your choices, even your weight. Your chest tightens, your mind fires off a dozen comebacks, and your mouth is already halfway to that cutting reply. But what if, right at that moment, you could hit emotional airplane mode, an invisible switch that mutes the turbulence so you can decide whether to speak at all? Here's how emotional airplane mode works. 1. Hit the internal pause button. The instant you feel that familiar prick of anger or hurt, mentally reach up and press pause. Think of it like tapping the screen on your phone. Everything freezes. No words, no reactions. Just a moment of stillness. 2. Breathe and stay quiet. In those next few seconds, take a deliberate breath. Inhale for 2 counts, exhale for 4. Feel your body slow down. Your racing heart will quiet, your shoulders will drop, and your mind will untangle from that initial surge of emotion. 3. Decide if a response is needed. Now that you're calm, ask yourself, is it worth responding? What outcome do I want? You might realize that the urge to snap back isn't serving you. Maybe it's better to stay silent, to listen, or to respond with curiosity instead of confrontation. 4. Why this matters. Emotions fade quickly. Just like a storm cloud passes, your initial anger or hurt will dissipate once you stop feeding it. By giving yourself a pause, You let the emotional surge burn itself out. Stops regret in its tracks. How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment and immediately regretted it? Emotional airplane mode keeps you from boarding that regret flight. Open space for wisdom. In the quiet after the pause, you access your rational mind, your inner pilot, who can navigate the conversation with insight, not impulse. A real-life example. A friend of mine, Lisa, once found herself in a tense team meeting. A colleague publicly criticized her proposal as half-baked, and Lisa felt hot anger rising. Instead of firing back, she hit emotional airplane mode. She pressed pause, took a deep breath, and stayed silent. As her mind cleared, she realized his comment pointed out a genuine gap. When she spoke again, it wasn't with defensiveness, but with a calm request. Can you walk me through which parts feel incomplete? That question turned a public scolding into a collaborative discussion, and the team ended up strengthening the plan together. Your quick challenge: identify your triggers. Notice the situations or words that typically push your emotional buttons. Practice the pause. The next time you feel that rush, whether in traffic, at work, or with family, silently say to yourself, airplane mode. Count and breathe. Take at least 3 seconds. Inhale 2 counts, exhale 4 counts. Choose your next move. Decide whether to stay silent, ask a question, or share your perspective calmly. Why this works for everyone? It's universal. You don't need special tools or training, just awareness and an intention to pause. It builds emotional muscle. Each time you practice, you strengthen your ability to stay centered under pressure. It improves relationships. When you don't react impulsively, you create space for genuine connection and understanding. Imagine how your day would change if, instead of reacting on autopilot, you always had the option to hit emotional airplane mode. You'd catch yourself before snapping at the barista, before lashing out at your partner, before posting that angry comment online. You'd become the person who brings calm to chaos, who thinks before speaking, who leads by example. So next time life gets turbulent, remember, you have an invisible switch. Hit emotional airplane mode, breathe, stay quiet, and choose your response. You'll touch down in steadiness every time. Imagine it's the middle of the day and you feel your mind spinning, emails piling up, deadlines looming, your heart racing as though you just sprinted a mile. You try to think your way out of it, but the more you ruminate, the worse it feels. That's when it's time to disconnect your mind by connecting your body. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into technique number 8, connect body and mind. It's simple. When stress builds in your head, move your body and you'll shift that stress right out of your system. You might wonder, why does walking or stretching help calm anxious thoughts? Here's the science in a nutshell. Research shows that regular physical activity, even a quick walk, can reduce stress levels by up to 43%. Why? Because movement activates your parasympathetic nervous system, flooding your body with feel-good endorphins and slowing down that adrenaline rush. When you're stuck in your thoughts, thinking more rarely solves the puzzle. Your mind is like a hamster wheel. More thinking just keeps you stuck. But when you move, you literally break that wheel, bringing focus, clarity, and calm. So here's how you do it. 1. Catch the first sign. The moment you notice tension, tight shoulders, shallow breathing, racing thoughts, stand up. Don't wait until you're completely frazzled. Catch it early. 2. Choose your move. You don't need a gym or fancy gear. Pick something instinctive. Walk for 5 minutes. No phone, no playlist. Just notice your steps. Shake your hands and arms out, like you're shaking off the day's stress. Stretch like a cat waking up. Reach your arms overhead. Bend slowly side to side. Roll your neck. 3. Mindful movement. As you move, bring your attention to your body. Feel your feet connect with the ground. Notice how your muscles lengthen as you stretch. Let your breath synchronize with each step. This mindfulness anchors you in the present, not lost in yesterday's worries or tomorrow's what-ifs. Last week, I had a morning that started off rocky. A spilled coffee, a missed call from my editor, a last-minute project change. I could almost hear the stress building like static in my head. Instead of collapsing back at my desk, I went outside, set a timer for just 3 minutes and walked without my phone. No podcasts, no music, just me in the air. By the time I returned, something had shifted. My chest felt lighter, my mind clearer. I sat down, opened my laptop, and tackled my inbox with fresh energy. That simple break changed my entire day. You don't always have to leave your desk. Try micro movements. Roll your shoulders. Stretch your arms behind your back. Twist gently side to side. Even tiny movements help. And if you can step outside, sunlight and fresh air amplify the effect. 10 minutes around the block can feel like a mini vacation. Here's a quick challenge. The next time you feel stuck in thought, stand up. Right now if you can, stretch or walk for 1 minute. Notice how your mind feels afterward. You don't need a gym membership or an hour-long workout. It's about intentional movement that reconnects your body and mind. Over time, you'll train yourself to spot early stress signals and use movement as your go-to reset. Soon you'll be the person who handles setbacks with poise, because you know the simple secret. To calm your mind, start with your feet. Imagine you're at work, your mind racing between yesterday's mistake and tomorrow's deadline. You catch yourself thinking, I'm late on that report, I forgot to call my mom, and what if that presentation goes badly? Suddenly you're nowhere. You're lost in the past and the future, and your stress skyrockets. What if, right in that moment, you had a simple anchor to drag you back to the here and now? That's the power of the present moment anchor, our 9th Stoic technique for staying calm. First, pick a tactile object you carry every day. A coin, a smooth stone, a bracelet, even a keychain. Keep it in your pocket or on your wrist. This object will be your anchor to reality. Here's how to use it. 1. Notice the drift. As soon as you feel your thoughts spiraling, worrying about what's done or what's not yet happened, pause. Recognize. I'm off in my head again. 2. Touch your anchor. Reach into your pocket and feel the object. Notice its texture, its temperature, its weight. Is it cool or warm? Smooth or ridged? Let that physical sensation ground you. 3. Breathe into now with all your fingers on the object. Take a slow breath in and out. As you inhale, think here. And as you exhale, think now. You're mapping your breath to the present moment. 4. Observe without judgment. Now look around. What do you see? A colleague typing, the flicker of your screen, the hum of the air conditioner. What do you hear? Footsteps, distant chatter. By engaging your senses, you shift from mental chaos into clear awareness. Why this works? Sensory reset. Your brain can't process abstract worries, what if, and concrete sensations, this cool metal, at the same time. The anchor snaps your focus to what's real. Neurohack. Touch signals travel faster than thought loops. That quick physical reminder interrupts the stress circuit in your brain. Habit of presence. The more you practice, the faster you'll catch yourself drifting, and the more natural it becomes to return to now. Real-world example. I keep a little river stone in my pocket. Last week, during a tense client call, my mind sprinted ahead. What if they reject this proposal? What if I lose the account? My chest tightened. I paused, slid my hand into my pocket, and felt the cool stone. Instantly, I remembered, stop, breathe, here and now. I took 2 slow breaths, grounded myself, and responded with calm clarity. The rest of the call went smoothly because I wasn't reacting from panic. Your mini challenge today: choose an anchor right now, a coin, a key, a bracelet. Carry it with you for the rest of the day. Use it every time you catch yourself worrying about the past or future. Touch it, breathe, return to the present. By the end of today, notice how often you pull yourself back and how much more control you feel. Remember, true calm is built one moment at a time. Let your present moment anchor guide you back again and again until here and now become your new default. Imagine you're in the middle of a tense moment. Maybe it's a high-stakes video call, or you're stuck in gridlock during rush hour, or you're about to reply to that critique you just got in your inbox. your chest tightens, thoughts race, and your voice wants to rise. But here's a secret. You can change your entire experience with just your breath. Today, we're talking about controlled breathing, technique number 10 in our Stoic toolkit. Why breathing matters. Your breath is the ultimate bridge between body and mind. Every inhale and exhale communicates directly with your nervous system. Fast, shallow breaths light the fuse of your fight-or-flight response. Heart pounds, muscles tense, judgment clouds over. Slow, deep breaths kick in your parasympathetic system. Calm returns, tension melts, clarity emerges. Clinical psychologists and nervous system researchers agree. Mastering your breath is one of the fastest, most reliable ways to shift from panic to poise, and you don't need hours of meditation. Just a simple pattern you can do anywhere. The 4-7-8 breath technique. Developed by Dr. Andrew Weil, the 4-7-8 breath is super easy to learn and even easier to practice. Here's the step-by-step. 1. Exhale completely. Breathe out fully through your mouth, making a gentle whoosh sound. Let go of old air and old tension. 2. Inhale quietly. Close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose for a mental count of 4. Feel your belly expand. This isn't shallow chest breathing. 3. Hold your breath. Keep that inhale held for a count of 7. This retention gives your body time to absorb oxygen and start the relaxation response. 4. Exhale with sound. Exhale again through your mouth for a count of 8, making that same whoosh. Imagine you're washing away stress with each out breath. 5. Repeat. That's 1 cycle. Aim for 4 cycles when you're new to it and build up to 8 over time. Why 4-7-8 works? Oxygen boost. Longer inhales deepen oxygen flow to your brain, sharpening clarity. CO2 regulation. Holding breath allows carbon dioxide buildup that, when released, dampens the nervous system's reactivity. Rhythmic focus. Counting gives your mind a simple task, pulling focus from anxious loops. Neuroscience research shows that this pattern quickly reduces cortisol levels, the body's main stress hormone, so you feel calmer within just a minute or 2. Real-world example. Last month, I was prepping for a live webinar when my internet froze, and the countdown clock kept ticking. My heart leapt into my throat. I could feel my message slipping away. Instead of panicking, I closed my eyes, hit the 4-7-8 sequence 4 times, and reopened them. Suddenly, my hands weren't shaking, my mind wasn't racing, and by the time the stream came back, I nailed the rest of my presentation like a pro. Practice tips. Morning momentum. Start your day with 2 cycles of 4-7-8 before you even get out of bed. It sets a calm tone. Meeting prep. Do a quick cycle before hitting join on any call that matters. You'll enter with presence, not panic. On-demand reset. Stuck in traffic or in a long line. Close your eyes for 30 seconds. Find your rhythm and let tension melt. Your mini challenge. Today, the next time you feel stress creeping in, before you reach for your phone or snap at someone, pause. Do 1 cycle of 4-7-8 right then, and there. Notice how your body shifts. Does your jaw unclench? Do your shoulders drop? Does your mind quiet? Comment below with "I breathe" and share where you practiced it. Car, cubicle, kitchen. Controlled breathing isn't just a meditation gimmick. It's a practical tool you can deploy in under a minute, anytime, anywhere. As Stoics would say, you have power over your mind, never outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. With every intentional breath, you prove that power belongs to you. So breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, and reclaim your calm. Your mind and everyone around you will thank you. Imagine this. You've been staring at your screen for hours. Notifications ping, your to-do list grows longer, and no matter how hard you think, your mind just spins. Here's a radical idea. Stop thinking so hard. Instead, use your hands. Welcome to technique number 11, manual activities, or what I like to call paper therapy. Sometimes the best way to quiet mental chatter isn't more brain power, but less, by engaging your body in simple, hands-on work. Why paper therapy works. Psychologists and neuroscientists agree. Flow states, that sweet spot where time melts away, aren't just for elite athletes or artists. They're available to anyone who gets their hands moving. When you draw, knead clay, or chop vegetables, you give your mind a single task to focus on. The constant inner critic? It fades into the background. In World War II, soldiers under extreme stress used carving, sewing, and other crafts to find calm. Studies show that creative manual work reduces anxiety, improves mood, and even fights symptoms of PTSD. Because hands-on activities tap into a more primitive part of our brain, one that finds deep satisfaction in making something real. Pick your paper therapy. You don't need fancy supplies. Here are 3 simple ways to get started. 1. Doodle or sketch. Grab any pen and paper. Don't worry about the end result. Just let your hand wander. Draw spirals, shapes, patterns, or tiny scenes from your day. Each line grounds you in the present moment, paragraph by paragraph, curve by curve. 2. Coloring. Adult coloring books aren't a gimmick. They're a proven stress buster. The repetitive motion of filling in shapes lowers the heart rate and slows breathing. Keep a small coloring sheet or a pack of colored pencils on your desk. 3. Clay or Play-Doh. There's something magical about turning a lump of clay into a shape of your choosing. Roll it, squeeze it, pinch it, feel the texture. Nothing fancy, a small tub of modeling clay or even vintage Play-Doh will do. Let's cook a little therapy. Manual doesn't only mean art. Cooking is hands-on therapy too. Think about kneading bread dough, chopping vegetables, or stirring a pot of soup. As you work, your senses engage. The scent of garlic, the feel of flour, the sound of sizzling onions. That sensory immersion pushes out mental noise. Last week, I was wrestling with a tough project proposal. My brain felt like scrambled eggs. So I put it aside, grabbed some dough, and made focaccia. While folding and pressing olive oil into the dough, I realized solutions I couldn't see at my desk. When the bread came out golden, I returned to my work refreshed, ideas flowing as freely as the basil-infused oil. A quick paper therapy ritual. 1. Set a timer for 10 minutes. No pressure to finish a masterpiece, just 10 uninterrupted minutes. 2. Choose your medium, paper and pen, coloring pencils, clay, or a chopping board. 3. Focus on the process. Notice textures, colors, rhythms. If thoughts drift in, gently return to your hands. 4. Reflect briefly. When the timer dings, pause. How do your shoulders feel? Is your mind quieter? Your hands, your mind. You might be thinking, I'm not an artist or I don't have time. But manual activities aren't about skill. They're about presence. Even doodling a simple spiral can move you from scattered to centered. And 10 minutes a day of hands-on work can rewire your stress response, making calm a habit. Try it today. Right now, look around. Do you have a sticky note and pen? Doodle a spiral. Is there a coffee cup full of pens? Spend a minute drawing waves. No paper? Fold a piece of paper origami style. Learn a simple crane online. It's about action, not perfection. Manual activities teach us that calm doesn't always come from thinking more. Sometimes it comes from doing, feeling, creating. So the next time your mind feels like it's racing on a treadmill, stop. Reach for pen, clay, or kitchen tools. Let your hands lead the way and watch your mind follow into a quieter, more creative space. Because in the end, real peace isn't found in endless thought. It's found when we let our hands speak. Imagine standing at the edge of a storm, the wind howling, lightning flashing. But instead of being tossed around, you're rooted to the ground, steady, unshaken, at peace. That's the power you gain when you train calm as a skill. It doesn't matter what's swirling around you. Traffic snarls, deadlines, difficult conversations, or unexpected setbacks. Your inner calm becomes your safe harbor. Calm is a skill. Here's the truth Stoics have taught us for centuries. Peace isn't something that happens to you, like winning the lottery or waking up one day without any worries. Peace is a skill. It's built, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every time you paused for 3 seconds, reframed a critical comment, activated observer mode, or set your body in motion to break a stress loop, you were practicing. You are strengthening that mental muscle that says, I decide how I respond. Think back over the techniques we've explored. The 3-second pause gave your rational mind a chance to step in. Reframing your story turned insults into feedback and obstacles into opportunities. Observer mode lets you rise above the drama as both actor and director. The 90-second rule showed you anger's natural lifespan and how not to feed it. Strategic pauses, airplane mode, acceptance challenges, connecting body and mind, present moment anchors, controlled breathing, and paper therapy. Each of these is a building block. No one technique is magic on its own, but as you weave them into your daily routine, like alternating workouts for your mind, you'll notice something remarkable. Stressors lose their grip. You stop reacting to every ping and provocation. Instead of being at the mercy of every thought, you become the captain of your inner ship. Empowerment, your moment-by-moment choice. In any situation, big or small, you have two choices. Hand the reins over to the automatic reaction your mind wants to pull, or take them back. That moment of choice is your power. It's not some lofty ideal. It's real, measurable, and it happens dozens of times a day. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do you grit your teeth and let anger drive you? Or do you pause and remind yourself, maybe they're rushing to an emergency? When you get that late-night email demanding changes, do you fire off an irate response, or do you take a breath and craft a constructive reply tomorrow morning? When your inner critic whispers, you're not good enough, do you believe it? Or do you reframe it as, that's feedback I can use to improve? Each time you choose calm, you're sending a message to your brain, you work for me, not the other way around. Over time, those choices build an unshakable sense of self-mastery. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You start feeling like the author of your experience. Commit to one practice today. Oh, it's your turn. I want you to pick one technique, just one, that resonated most with you. Maybe it's the 3-second pause, the 4-7-8 breath, or simply carrying a small stone in your pocket as a present moment anchor. Here's how to make it stick. 1. Set a reminder. Put a note on your bathroom mirror, your desk, or a widget on your phone, whatever you'll see first thing in the morning. 2. Practice with intention. The next time you're triggered, consciously use that technique. Notice how it changes your reaction. 3. Journal briefly. At the end of the day, write down one moment when you applied your chosen practice and how you felt afterward. That's it. No need to overhaul your life in a single day. Real transformation happens through small, consistent steps. Share your journey. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with I choose calm and let us know which technique you are committing to today. Share a moment when you practiced it and what you noticed. This community is here to learn together, support each other, and celebrate every win, big or small. Keep cultivating your steady mind. Calm isn't a one-and-done achievement. It's a lifelong practice, like learning an instrument or improving your fitness. Some days you'll feel unshakable. Other days you'll slip back into old habits, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to keep returning to these techniques, to keep practicing, and to remember, every moment is an opportunity to choose calm over chaos. So take the reins today. Build your skill of inner peace, one breath, one pause, one mindful step at a time. And remember, you're not in this alone. This community is here to grow with you. I'll see you in the comments. Stay steady, stay strong, and keep choosing calm.